Started talking again when I texted him after the break, and there was not really like the break didn't affect the friendship. Yes, we did talk a little bit less in the initial days, but yeah, it was there always, and he was clear that he does not want a relationship. So it was not like that he misled me or anything, but I used to wonder that why is this person talking to me a lot? Like I had my reasons. I was not aware of my reasons at that time that I might be seeking for comfort. Like I was not aware of it, but still I used to think like I have my reasons maybe which I didn't have clarity about, but still, but I used to wonder like why is this person talking to me a lot? Which now when I look back, I kind of realize that he was also kind of like, I cannot speak for him of course, but what I think is that he was also kind of finding an escape from the breakup. So it, like, we started talking, and then one day we are having this conversation where he is mentioning about something. Like we have this conversation, and it was a really long conversation, and this conversation kind of changed the dynamic. Like this was, I would say, a very crucial point in the friendship. So he mentions something, like something he struggles with, he mentions it, and then I'm like I don't know why do I have this thing, and it's a pattern in everything. Whenever someone says something, or like they tell me that they are going through something, or there's some sort of emotional chaos they are into it, I don't know, my first instinct is to, I will help this person in healing. Now that can be a good thing, but the problem is then it goes to the extent where I just forget that in this friendship there are two people, and then problem begins when the entire friendship or connection becomes about the other person. Like I clearly remember that conversation, and I clearly remember what was going into my mind. In my mind I was like, I will help this person in healing, I will heal this person, which is such a stupid thing. Like it is a good thing, but if the other person is not willing, then you cannot do something. A and B, you are not their therapist. Like no one is anyone's therapist, you just need to do that work. But he just mentioned something, and that was something that I struggled with too. So I was like, okay, I can help you with this. And then I just kind of told him that why don't you tell me more about yourself, or like your struggles, etc., etc. And from that point, like in my mind it was kind of like, I don't know, I just thought that he's been through a lot and I will help him heal me, and then maybe he will have feelings for me. Like I don't know if that was the exact thought, I don't exactly remember, but there was definitely this feeling of like, as a person, okay, now this is getting a little bit personal, but as a person I know I can be someone who just wants to feel validated by other people, because I had a very low self esteem. And there was this sense of that if someone sees me as special, be it in a friendship, in romantic relationship, if I do something for them, then they will see me as someone special, different than others, and then that would give me a sense of feeling worthy. And I know that happens with a lot of people, because now I also have friends that have told me that they just think that if they change the other person, then they might be special because the other person changes because of them, or if they do something different than others, like that thing that you are not like the other girls that I have met, or stuff like that, which is not at all healthy. But yeah, so in my mind it was like that I will help him, I'll like kind of help him in this journey, which did not turn out to be good, because it was only one conversation when he opened up. Other than that, he was pretty much closed off about all his struggles. And later we also found out that I am more of an anxious attachment, he's more of an avoidant attachment. So that kind of makes sense too. But we have this conversation, okay, उसके बाद it kind of like the entire dynamic changed. When I say that he became closed off, that was much later into the connection, but initially when I just started listening to him more, because I was like, he also struggled with a low self esteem for a really long period of time, but he didn't show it. Like you can never tell him seeing him, you can never tell that he struggles with a low self-esteem, but that is also like a coping mechanism, and we also had conversation about this. Underneath that, he had a lot of childhood experiences which were like not very good, so he just kind of started telling me all those, and I just started playing the role of his therapist because I was also into this stuff. Like, I was very much into stuff like that, psychology and stuff. I have read about it. At that point of time, I used to read about it a lot, and I was interested in those topics itself, but I just literally tried to give him, like, I don't know. But after that, it became like he's telling me about his past, his trauma and stuff like that, and I'm listening and playing the role of a kind of therapist. Okay, initial few days it went on, I didn't think much because the connection was kind of okay, but at one point, it, like, he then, when he was mentioning about his past stuff, then again he also started talking about his ex, and this was the start of the real destruction that happened. So he started talking about his ex a lot then. And then initial few days I tried to be really considerate. I was like, okay, he has gone through a breakup, but it was not ending. Like, at one point the entire conversation became about his ex and him. And I'm like, when I used to figure out his childhood trauma, like help him in it, like, of course I'm not saying that I'm a therapist or anything, like I'm not, and I'm not like boosting or anything, but I just like, in my mind there has been this pattern. Like, today also, if a friend tells me that they are going through an a bad experience, okay, if someone tells me this, then I know it's very important to be considerate and to listen to that person, but somehow I had this habit of taking the responsibility of their emotions or regulating their emotions for them, where I kind of lost myself. Like, you can help people, but in the end you can't do their work because it becomes too burdening for your own self. Like, they have to deal through that kind of work, but I used to feel like I'm responsible for their healing, which is not the truth. Then at a point the entire friendship became about him, and then he didn't mention about his childhood much. Like, it started off with him telling me his past experiences in journal, that kind of led to the person he is now, and that was fine. But then somehow it shifted to the ex and the relationship that he was in, and then he entirely became about that thing only, and it continued for a couple of months. And then after that I was like, this is not going right, because it literally felt like everything is becoming about them, and this friendship is no more in balance, because where am I in this friendship? So I just thought to tell him that, listen, I think that it's becoming a lot, and I know it's my mistake too, because I was not good at boundaries. I should have never taken the responsibility of, like, helping a friend is fine, but it kind of felt like, as I told you, like, just getting that feeling of being special if you do. Like, I don't know if it is making sense of, if you can relate to it, but sometimes I think helping someone is good, but sometimes, if you have never been appreciated that much, then you always seek for that validation. Like, I remember a lot of the times in childhood when, you get appreciation for doing something good or helping the other person, and you get appreciation only then. Otherwise, like, if you get good grades, then you get appreciation, or if you help your mom, then you get appreciation, but no one really reminds you other than that you are worthy. And then it kind of becomes a thing where you just go after that appreciation, because inside me, I was not feeling that great about myself. And every time I help him, which might sound very bad, like, it was not like I had a, like, selfish purpose for helping him. Like, I don't know how is this sounding, to be very honest, it's very complex. But yeah, it has been a pattern where you just feel the feeling of helping someone else kind of makes you feel that you are worthy, otherwise you are not worthy. I will just put it this way. Like, your worth depends on how much you can give, on what you can do. And other than that, yes, there was also this hope that maybe he will say I will so amazing and we will in a relationship. But that was not the entire thing. Like it was not like I was doing that only because I wanted a relationship. If like I was doing that as a friend too. So the entire conversation became hard as sex, and I told him this, and I also thought that I didn't need to do that and I should have more clear boundaries. But when I told him this, he was like, okay, like he apologized and he was like, I'll keep that in mind. And then we started talking again, but now the conversations were not that organic or that good as earlier somehow. So this point was kind of really weird in the relationship, and it also changed the connection a bit, because after that when we talked, I could feel it that there was some change, okay, and it was not good. I don't know what happened, but then one day I clearly remember we are having this conversation in the night, and I told him like I was expressing something that I was really sensitive about and that I was struggling with, and I had anxiety about this thing, and I'm telling him about something. And as I'm telling him, he just tells me that just hold on, I'll call you back. Sorry, I'll text you back in 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay. And then this guy does not reach out to me the entire night. And then he texts me the next day, evening. Okay. And like like again the another thing was, I don't know if I was expecting more from him, because I was definitely acting as more than a friend. Like the amount of efforts I was giving in was definitely based on the feelings too. So I know it's not right on my part to expect more from him, which I was, but I knew that I should not. But even as a friend, I really questioned it. Like, we were having this full-fledged conversation. It was not even like casual hi, how are you, or casual conversation here and there. We were talking for like, I told him that I need to talk about something, and then he does this. And then when he reaches out, then again I have this problem. I didn't used to express myself that well, and I just tell him at that point, because it triggered me so much, because my past friendships have been like this, where I was the person who was always overgiving. And in this connection too, I know it's my fault, it started because of that. But initially it was kind of good, and I don't know, I just felt like at that point of time all the past came into my mind. I remembered all of that, and I just told him that I don't think I can talk to you anymore. Like, I feel like the entire conversation was about your ex at some point, and when I told you that this is happening, then you told me that you will improve. But instead, the conversations kind of got like, I could see a change, and then that day when I really needed you, you were not there for me. And I know I might also have this habit of acting to extremes. Like, I could have resolved the issue, and I also know that a lot of the things I need to work on. I know I'm not saying that I was not the red flag. Maybe I was, maybe I was not, I don't know. But yeah, it was like at that point I got so triggered that I just thought I could not talk to this guy anymore. Like, it's fine, I don't want to give him another chance, I don't want to resolve this. And by the way, when he texted me in the evening, he just told me that something came up, and that's why he forgot that we were talking, like something like that. But I definitely know whatever came up was not that urgent. Like, it was not like a crisis that I knew. And I just got triggered, and I told him that I don't think so I can do this anymore, because this was becoming too much about your ex. And then, like, I didn't particularly tell him about the past and stuff like that, that you doing this kind of triggered me. I didn't tell him that, but I was really disappointed, and his action was kind of showing that he's not, like, he does not care. It kind of indicated that, because I have been there for him. I know during these times, like when we started with the healing conversation and the past conversation, I know I have been there for him whenever he needed to talk about something. But when the friendship was kind of in balance initially, it was not this intense too. So maybe that was also the fact that it was in balance. So yeah, initially it was like the friendship was is in balance, but it was also not that close. Like, we did talk about the interest and other stuff, but we didn't talk about our childhood and experiences, stuff like that. So maybe it was in balance tabhi, like because we were not that close. Sometimes things function like that. You can have 10 arguments with the best friend because you are very close to that person, and you can have a random friend with whom you are not that close, and that relationship you can never have an argument with that person, because the more you know someone, the more there are chances that there would be conflict. So I think at that point I just felt like it is not, like it's not going well, and then I told him I don't want to talk to you now. This guy, oh my god, this guy texts me after I don't know how many days. But okay, another thing, by the way, when I told him that I don't want to talk to you anymore, then he was like, okay, I understand. Again, in this whole story time, you'll see that this guy does not, kind of, because he didn't care, like he didn't have feelings, of course, but you will also see him from this neutral perspective, like I'm going, that's fine, you can go. I'm coming into your life, that's fine, you can enter my life. And I don't know if this is a good thing or not, like I literally don't know. I think it is like if someone is telling you, I don't want to be in your life, why would you force them to? I do understand that, but it kind of felt like that he does not care, which he did not, which I know now. It always felt like that, because there's also a thing of like, when someone really matters, I'm not saying that you will stop them from going from your life, because that's your choice, but there will be this thing where you might want to resolve things, you might want to have a discussion, like did I do something that has hurt you, stuff. I don't know, maybe I think too much, but yeah, this happens, and then we don't talk for some days. I don't exactly remember how many days, but then one day this person just texts me like it is so dramatic, and at that point of time it felt real. But when I now look back, it just again feels like, to this day I do not know if this guy, whatever he did, what, like which of the things were real and which was just subtle manipulation. Like to this day I do not know, because at times when you can literally feel something is genuine, I felt that, but there were also times when I look back now, I just feel like, was it even real? So this guy texted me a long text saying how important our friendship was, and even though he does not have feelings for me because he's not in a position to be in a relationship, but he's really starting to see me as someone that could be a significant part of his life. He sends me this long paragraphs explaining how we met and our first conversation and what I told him, etc., etc. Basically the gist of all of that was he misses me. I questioned that, if like it felt genuine, but I again questioned that maybe he's just, I don't know, it just felt like maybe he liked that I listened to him. That's what he liked. And he does not like me. Like it was the comfort that he likes, the attention.